Hey up, Ravers. You just caught me out on a leisurely afternoon drive. This week's review is a request courtesy of the good folk over on my Patreon. Fancied doing a Spielberg film, so I asked the Ratrons and Nickel Ratrons for their Spielberg suggestions, and this particular film proved very popular, had multiple votes, and it did indeed come up on the rotating review randomiser. So yeah, time for a spot of road rage, courtesy of Duel. Now bugger off, will you? I'm doing the bloody speed limit. Bloody hell. Yes, Duel. Steven Spielberg's first feature film. Although I gather it weren't strictly a film. It was like for an NBC movie at week, like a TV film thing. But yeah, anyway, Spielberg's first film. And I've got very vivid memories of when I first saw it, because I caught it on telly in the 80s. The kids were at the granny's, and Denise had some mates round. I think she was hosting a sodding Tupperware party or something like that. Anyway, I was banished to the back room, where we had a nickel black and white telly, and the only thing worth watching were Duel. And it stars Dennis Weaver as travelling salesman David Mann, who's got to drive across California to meet a client. And he gets stuck behind this rusty old tanker, belching out fumes. And it's just trundling along, so he thinks, no, I'll overtake it. Doesn't think out of it. But then a minute or so later, the truck overtakes him, whizzes past him, pops the brakes on, and then starts plodding in front of him again. So yeah, truck drivers obviously playing silly buggers here. Common thing on the roads, ain't it? Folk get behind the wheel and start acting like dickheads. Yeah, I don't know why, but as soon as folks step in a vehicle, and I reckon this is blokes more than women, but they act all macho behind the wheel like it's a penis extension. Like the vehicle's an extension of their penis. They've got to prove how manly they are. Talking of penises, give it a rest, will ya? And after overtaking the truck for a second time, man pulls in to get some petrol, and the truck pulls up alongside. Obviously needs to fill up and all. And this is where we get to see some hints of Spielberg's directorial qualities here. Because he doesn't show you the driver, just shows you bits of him. You see an arm, you see his feet. You caught a very fleeting glimpse when man were overtaking him. But that's it, that's all you get in the film. You don't see the driver, he's like just some faceless thing. So the truck is the thing what takes all the personality. This horrible rusty truck becomes almost supernatural. Now, while his car's getting filled up, man makes a phone call to his missus. And this gives us some clues that man, yeah, he's a bit of a pushover, a bit of a wimp.
You think that I should go out and call Steve Henderson up and challenge him to a fist fight or something?
No, of course not. But, I mean, I think you could have at least said something to the man last night. I mean, after all, he was practically trying to rape me in front of that whole party.
Get the impression is his wife wears the trousers, so to speak.
Well, just be on time, okay?
All right. Okay, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely no reason whatsoever why he won't get home in time. None whatsoever. Yeah. So, man gets back on road, but before you know it, the truck is right behind him, driving really aggressively right up his jacksie. I hate it when folk do that. So he does what I would do. He lets him go past and says, no, go on. If you're bothered about how slow I'm driving, bugger off, have the road. But then the truck really starts playing silly buggers, cuts him up and whacks the brakes on. Just plodding away in front, belching them fumes out. And even when there's two lanes, he won't let man overtake him, he just swerves in his way. But it all takes a turn for the sinister as the driver signals him to go past.
Well, it's about time, Charlie.
Only to lure man into nearly driving head-on into another vehicle. What an arsehole. And after man is eventually able to overtake him when he pulls a dodgy manoeuvre, the truck responds by going right up his arse, ramming him up his arse. And Spielberg builds the tension brilliantly. And Dennis Weaver, he's terrific because you can see the tension on his face as he starts to panic more and more. And we see the speedometer cranking up as he's doing 100 miles an hour. And there's this really unsettling music and all. all builds the tension brilliantly. And yeah, the truck's just ramming him up his arse. And eventually runs him off the road. And he slams into this fence, knackering it. Now, I appreciate this is very early 70s. And it's in America. But if that sort of thing happened over here, you'd be exchanging insurance details, asking for witnesses, all that stuff. These blokes just laughing at him.
Just a little whiplash is all.
Where's Michael Winner when you need him?
You hit me! You went into the back of my new car!
Calm down, dear. It's a commercial.
Now, man tries to regather his bearings and recover after that traumatic incident by popping into Chuck's cafe. And we get some more directorial mastery here from Spielberg, because it's one long continuous take as we follow David Mann through the cafe as he pops to the boat to splash some water on his face and regather his scent. And it's like we're all breathing a collective sigh of relief after that traumatic incident. But as he wanders back into the cafe to sit down and try and relax for a little bit, he has a peek out the window, only to see the bloody truck's back! And suddenly anybody in the cafe could be the evil driver. Brilliant stuff from Spielberg. And of course, he still doesn't let you see the driver. I reckon a lot of directors would cop out and let you see the driver. But Spielberg knows, the stuff you don't see is more frightening than what you do see. We saw that in Jaws, didn't we? He had to do a lot of that in Jaws because I believe the shark were crap and it were knackered, the Mogul shark. So he had to be creative and have all these things representing the shark that weren't actually the shark. So you'd see stuff floating about, think, oh, that's the bloody shark, even though you couldn't see the shark. Very good, very good. Yeah, I feel sorry for man there, because he's done the right thing, I reckon, because he did exactly what I've just done now. If you got a truck right with your jacksie playing silly buggers, get off the road, let him get well away from you. Just relax for a little bit. But unfortunately for man, he's in a bit of a pickle, because this truck driver seems like an absolute nutcase, and he's got a vendetta against him now. Now, I've spent a lot of time on the roads in my working life, and I've always found the vast majority of truckers to be very good to deal with, very responsible drivers. They've got a job to do, transporting goods up and down the country for the British citizens. But we did get a public service information video in the early 80s, didn't we? Warning us of the perils of certain rogue truckers.
I like trucking, I like trucking, I like trucking and I like to truck.
Yes, we were warned that rogue truckers can be vindictive, just like the Duel trucker. And rogue truckers will wave unwitting victims into oncoming traffic, just like the trucker in Duel. And they'll bash you up your backside, just like the Duel trucker and all.
If you hit 'em, never mind.
But unfortunately for David Mann, he obviously weren't privy to that information before his journey, and therefore couldn't heed any warnings about rogue truckers. And with a premise as simple and straightforward as this, travelling salesman gets harangued by a truck driver. You'd think they'd have trouble stringing it out to last an hour and a half. But not Spielberg, no. It just keeps ratcheting up the tension and suspense, and it really is a gripping watch. And spoiler alert, it's obvious that nobody's coming to help David Mann. He has to take matters into his own hands. And he manages to goad the truck into a game of chicken. But unbeknownst to the trucker, because he can't see properly out of his windscreen, Mann has lured him over the edge of a cliff. And there's a pretty spectacular shot here where it tumbles down mountain in a plume of dust. They ain't getting a take two with that if it goes tits up, because your truck's knackered there, isn't it? And we get this brilliant bit of acting here from Weaver. Firstly with this sheer jubilation. The wimpy man has overcome all the odds. David and Goliath stuff. He's like a little kid, isn't he? Jumping up and down. But then the realisation dawns on him that not only has he led another human being to their death, but his car's completely knackered, he's stranded in the middle of nowhere, and his wife is going to give him an almighty bollocking when he gets home. Mind you, I ain't got loads of sympathy with him, because he could have made his life a lot easier.
I'm never gonna make that appointment now.
He should have just gone home, mate. Okie-doo, on to raise ratings. Well, when I was flicking channels on that Saturday night back in the 80s, and this were the only thing that were passable to watch. I were expecting very little from it, maybe a 2-star film. But what a belting film it turned out to be. I were hooked. It were great. And obviously as a bloke who drove a lot for work, I could empathise with a lot of this. You come up against a lot of dickheads on the roads, don't you? But yeah, very simple premise. And you wouldn't have thought you'd be able to drag an hour and a half out of it. But Spielberg, master of suspense. Brilliant. And you can see from this how he went on to make some of the other films what he did. And very good, very good. So I'm rating Duel a 5-star, 2-star film. Now, I've mentioned Jaws a little bit. As I say, you can see how Duel almost lays a foundation for Jaws, really. Especially in terms of building the tension. But also wanted to give a special mention to the Columbo episode where he directed. Murder by the Book. Same year, I think, 1971. Not sure which one he did first, Duel or the Columbo. But it's a great watch. Not so much for the story, I'll be honest, it's one of the thinnest Columbo stories. Premise is a bit paper thin. No pun intended, because it's about crime novelists. But, the gotcha moment I thought were quite weak.
With this, I think I got a conviction, don't you?
No, not remotely strong enough to get a conviction. You get laughed out of court, mate. But it looks fantastic. No studio sets either. It's all on location. Unlike a lot of Columbo episodes. But yeah, it looks superb. Love watching it, even though the story ain't great. And Jack Cassidy and Peter Falk, well, they're always great, ain't they? So yeah, still a very entertaining hour and a half. But if you ain't seen it, check it out. Right, I'll best be making tracks in the road. Hey, bloody hell, that truck's in the car park. How long's he been here? Wonder if I can get a look at the driver. Hold up. He looks familiar. Well, hope you enjoyed my review of Duel, Ravers. And if you did, poke the old like button for me. Give it a good old poke. Maybe you could properly whack it. As if you were, going on your car hooter. Like David Mann would have done. And remember to share rave reviews with your mates. And subscribe to the channel if you ain't already a subscriber. Jump aboard the good ship Ruttle. Now this film was picked by one of the patrons over on my Patreon. And if you become a patron, as well as being able to submit your suggestions for reviews, there's some exclusive content on there. Content! That's what the young folk call it. There's content on there. Content! Yeah, monthly roundups, regular brain teaser challenges, and the full patrons get a horse in the annual Ray Ruttle's Race Night Tournament. So come and join us! And copyright box permitting, I will be back with another review for you very soon. So I will see you next time. Okie-doo!